Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto genius of FTX. Well, today, at 25 years, him get. Greetings, and salutations to all nations. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it's your favorite Jamaican. It's Rastafari, so the Young People TV. If it's your first time tuning into the Rastafari channel, hit that red subscribe button. That's how you're going to become a part of the Rastaman panel. Help build up the channel, ladies and gentlemen, by sharing the content and also by leaving your comment. Let me know what you think about this. If this is the proper punishment as FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried sentenced to 25 years for crypto fraud, and he will have to pay back $11 billion. The founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, was sentenced to 25 years in prison for security fraud conspiracy that doomed his cryptocurrency exchange and related a huge fund. Alameda Research. Now, Bankman-Fried also was ordered to pay $11 billion in forfeiture at the sentencing in Manhattan federal court. There is a risk that this man will be in possession of doing something very bad in the future, Judge Lewis Kaplan said. FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in prison on Thursday for massive fraud and conspiracy that doomed his cryptocurrency exchange, a related hedge fund. Alameda Research. The sentence in Manhattan federal court was significantly less than the 40 years and to 50 years that in prison that the federal prosecutor wanted Bankman-Fried, but it was much more than 5 to 6.5 years suggested by his attorney. There's a risk that this man will be in possession to do something very bad. That's what the judge said. Judge Kaplan said before the sentencing the 32-year-old and ordered him to pay $11 billion in forfeiture to the U.S. government. And it's not a trivial risk at all, Kaplan added. Kaplan noted he has never heard a word of remorse from the commencement of this terrible crime from Bankman-Fried. The judge said that in 30 years on the federal bench, he had never seen a performance like Bankman-Fried trial testimony. If Bankman-Fried was not outright lying during cross-examination by prosecutor, he was evasive, Kaplan said. There is absolutely no doubt that Mr. Bankman-Fried's name right now is pretty much mud around the world, the judge said. Jurors at trial likewise did not buy Bankman-Fried's version of events, convicting him in November of 7 criminal counts and holding him responsible for losing about $10 billion in customer money due to the security fraud conspiracy. Prosecutors said Bankman-Fried led a conspiracy to loot customers of their money by making investment fund political donation to both Democrat and Republican, and for his personal use, as well as to repay loan taken out by Alameda Research. Before being sentenced, Bankman-Fried spoke contrarily, even as he suggested that the billions of dollars consumer loss was the result of liquidate crisis or mismanagement, not fraud. A lot of people feel really let down, and they were very let down, he said, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about what happened at every stage. My useful life is probably over, he said while wearing a beige jail jumpsuit. It's been over for a while now, since before my arrest. They built something really beautiful and I threw it all away, he said of his co-workers at FTX, a company once valued $32 billion, in hunt of me being selfish. It's been excruciating to watch this all unfold. He told Judge Kaplan, consumers don't deserve this level of pain. I was the CEO of FTX and I was responsible. But even as he took some responsibility, Bankman-Fried suggested that the consumers were eventually would get back their money they placed with his exchange, and blamed the federal bankruptcy court for not making those consumers whole yet. Kaplan appeared to stop paying close attention at that point. In response, Bankman-Fried crossed his arm and began rapidly tapping his right foot on the continuous. As he speak, Assistant U.S. Attorney Nicholas Rose, arguing for the prisoner sentence up to 5 decades, scoffed at the pictured pain by Bankman-Fried and his lawyer. FTX collapsed in 2022 and was not due to a liquidity crisis or an act of mismanagement, Rose said. It was the thief of billions of dollars of consumer money around the world. Prosecutor said it was a loss that affected people significantly. Bankman-Fried lawyer Mark Muxie, in asking Kaplan for leniency, focused on the client's psychological problem, noting that his mother said Bankman-Fried had terrified sadness and his core, which has been a constant present in his life. Sam was not ruthless financial serial killer who set out every morning to hurt people, the lawyer said. Instead, he an awkward math nerd with a tireless work ethic, said the lawyer, who also compared the FTX founder to a beautiful puzzle. Bankman-Fried should not be in a 4x4 iron box, Muskey argued. Before he sentenced Bankman-Fried, Kaplan said he rejected the entry of the defendant argument. There was no loss. And the FTX calling the claim misleading, logically flawed, and speculative. Chanel Cowell, a victim of Bankman-Fried, then talked about damage that was caused. Bankman-Fried took a look at Cavius as she described speaking to thousands of other FTX fraud victims, several of whom are suffering from depression and taking prescription medication to deal with the trauma that of their loss. I suffer every day from past 2 years, she said. I continue to suffer. Manhattan U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, in a statement after the sentencing, said Samuel Bankman-Fried orchestrated one of the largest financial fraud in the history of the United States. His deliberate and ongoing lie demonstrate the brazen disregard for the consumer's expectation and disrespect for the rules of law. Also, that he could secretly use the customer's money to expand his own power and influence, Williams said. Attorney General Merrick Garland said anyone who believes they can hide their financial crime behind wealth and power, or behind a shiny new thing they claim no one else is smart enough to understand, should think twice. Bankman-Fried family, in a statement, said, we are heartbroken and will continue to fight for our son. Both Jovis Bankman and Barbara Fried, who are Stanford lawyer professionals, were sitting in the front row of the courtroom gallery during a sentencing. Imagine! Bankman-Fried plans to appeal his conviction and sentence. 3 other people who all testify against Bankman-Fried trial are awaiting their own sentencing after pleading guilty to criminal charges related to FTX and Alameda Research. They are Caroline Ellison, an Alameda Research CEO who at the time dated Bankman-Fried. FTX engineer chief Nishad Singh and Gary Wang, the co-founder and chief technology officer of FTX. So they all have bailed on him, except for the mother and the father, two high society Stanford lawyer, Democrats. As you hear that Bankman-Fried used the money for his personal gains and to get into, high and low places, as he was the number 2 donor to the Democrat Party, donating over $40 million, as his name was also circulating in some kind of corruption or some kind of conspiracy, as he was given the task of creating an app to get the donation for all the Ukrainians and converting the money. So there was speculation that he probably pocketed some of that money also, or transferred it over to the Democratic Party. Ladies and gentlemen, this criminal should have spent the rest of his life in jail. Sam Bankman-Fried, the biggest fraud in the history of America. The FTX founder will stay in jail for 25 years, but he will still come out the road. As you heard the article, it sounds like he's blaming the government, the bankruptcy court, for not making his victim whole, meaning that for not paying back what he has stolen. Leave your comment on this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you think 25 years for robbing $32 billion from customers is a fair, sentencing. He will have to pay back $11 billion, so that means he did not lose the entire money. He have the money tied up in some sock drawer at his mother's house. Leave your comment, share the content, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rastafari, soldier here of Deep Roots TV. Wow, leave your truth. Subscribe to the Rastaman channel if you have not subscribed. And if you have subscribed, leave a comment on this. Fire,